Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. We are taking a massive leap back in time today to uncover the absolute depths of human history buried right in the Belin and Son River valleys of Uttar Pradesh. I mean, if you've ever wondered how on earth early humans went from just, wandering around trying to survive to literally building complex societies from the ground up, you are in the exact right place. We're going to decode the very first stages of civilization using some absolutely incredible archaeological evidence found right in this region. So let's get into it. So, ask yourself, where did human civilization in India truly begin? We almost always jump straight to those grand empires or the bustling ancient cities when we think of history, right? But to get the real answer, we've got to challenge our assumptions. The true foundations of literally everything we know started right in our own backyard, hundreds of thousands of years ago. It's an amazing story of survival, insane innovation, and just the relentless human spirit. Okay, let's dive into this timeline. We'll be hitting three massive eras today. First up, the Paleolithic Age, stretching all the way from 500,000 down to 10,000 BCE. Then, the Mesolithic Age, from 10,000 to 8,000 BCE. And rounding it out, the Neolithic Age, from 8,000 to 3,000 BCE. Section 1. The Paleolithic Age. The first nomads. Just imagine for a second a world completely untouched by civilization, where your entire survival depended solely on what you could scavenge from nature on any given day. That was life in the Paleolithic Age. It was 100% nomadic. People were constantly on the move, hunting game and gathering wild plants just to stay alive. They were totally tethered to the river valleys, because, well, rivers are lifelines. They provide drinking water and they attract the animals you need to hunt. These early humans essentially grabbed whatever shelter they could find, mostly natural rock shelters, just trying to stay safe in a really rugged terrain. But despite that brutal day-to-day grind, something much deeper was actually starting to spark in the human mind. Let's check out the physical evidence. Early humans relied on these really heavy, rudimentary stone tools. This is literally version 1.0 of human technology. No refined metals here. They just looked at the raw earth and grabbed the toughest rocks they could find. Stuff like basalt, chert, and quartzite. Now, carving these dense rocks took a ton of physical effort, but it gave them that crucial edge they needed to hunt, to process meat, and basically survive the wild, unforgiving environment of prehistoric Uttar Pradesh. But here is where it gets absolutely fascinating. Even in this incredibly early, primitive stage of pure survival, religious beliefs were already popping up. The discovery of the mother goddess figurine at Lodanala, that is a spectacular find. It proves these first nomads weren't just obsessing over their next meal, they were actually exploring spirituality, fertility, and trying to understand their connection to the unseen forces of the world. Mind-blowing stuff. Section 2. The Mesolithic Age. This is where settling down begins. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the microlith. You can think of this as prehistoric tech miniaturization. So instead of lugging around those large, heavy, clunky stones from the Paleolithic era, humans actually figured out how to craft these small, highly refined stone tools. It sounds simple, but it was a massive technological turning point. Because these microliths were so small, they could be attached to wood or bone to create advanced weapons. We're talking spears and arrows. It was a total game changer. Hunting and fishing became wildly more efficient, which fundamentally rewired how these societies operated. And, with better tools comes a much more stable food supply, which completely shifts human behavior. We can track this in three major steps. First, we see the dawn of animal domestication, a huge, huge leap from just chasing wild game. Second, because they actually had reliable resources now, they didn't have to constantly wander, we start seeing pit hearths and temporary shelters, meaning they're forming semi-permanent settlements. And third, we see formal burial practices emerging alongside bone ornaments. This shows us a society rapidly developing a sense of community, culture, and likely some pretty deep contemplation about life and death. Section 3. The Neolithic Age. The Farming Revolution. There is just a stark, undeniable contrast between these two eras. In the Mesolithic era, it was still mostly about hunting, fishing, and temporary shelters. But crossing over into the Neolithic era, the script completely flips. We transition into a time totally dominated by agriculture, active animal husbandry, and building actual, permanent mud huts. Basically, humans stopped just adapting to the wild and started actively shaping and controlling their environment. And this brilliantly illustrates just how monumental the Neolithic breakthroughs were. The focused, intentional domestication of livestock, cattle, sheep, goats, gave them a totally reliable source of food and materials. And that security? That allowed them to build physical, permanent communities out of mud huts. For the first time ever, humans were truly putting down permanent roots, all thanks to widespread agriculture. So why does all of this matter so much today? Well, archaeological sites right in this region have yielded some of the very earliest evidence of rice cultivation on the planet. I mean, think about that. It makes Uttar Pradesh a critically important center for the origins of early global farming. Literally, the roots of our modern agricultural society were planted right here. Section 4, Master the Memory Code. Okay, for those of you studying this material, especially if you're prepping for exams, we are going to pull all of these eras and sites together for you. If you're taking notes, now is a great time to hit pause on this explainer. What you're looking at is a powerhouse summary that directly mirrors the source text. In the Paleolithic row up top, you've got your major sites, Balandoli, Lahotanala, Chakia, Mirzapur, and Singroli, paired with those huge discoveries of stone tools and the Mother Goddess. Drop down to the Mesolithic row, and there's Sarai Naharai, Chopanimando, Mahadaha, Damdama, and Lakahia, famous for those game-changing microliths and early burials, and finally the Neolithic row Moksin, Kaldihwa, Mahagara, Pancho, and Laharadeva, which are the absolute epicenters of early rice farming and mud huts. Now, to help you actually master all of this, I've got something special for you. Call it the ultimate UPCS cheat code. We're going to use a fast recall mnemonic device, basically a high-value little Easter egg, to help you easily remember all of Uttar Pradesh's major Stone Age sites in perfect chronological order. Let's break down the first part of our memory code. For the Paleolithic age, remember the era of the earliest nomads, your mnemonic is Bilo Chamisi. Just say it aloud a few times to lock in the rhythm. B for Bilan Valley, Lo for Lodanala, Cha for Chakia, Mi for Mirzapur, and C for Singrali. So whenever you see a question about the oldest nomadic sites or those heavy stone tools, just think Bilo Chamisi. Moving smoothly along to the second part of the code, we hit the Mesolithic era, where semi-permanent settlements kick off. Keep your focus here, because the sites get a bit more complex. Your moniker for this one is Sachomadale. That stands for Sarai Naharai, Chopanimando, Mahadaha, Damdama, and Lakahia. If an exam question asks about the origin of microliths or early burial practices in UP, Sachomadale is your key to instantly unlocking the right sites. And finally, let's finish off our memory code with the farming revolution itself, the Neolithic era. Your final mnemonic is super short and punchy. Komapala. Ko is Kaldihwa, Ma is Mahagara, Pa is Pancho, and La is Lahurvadeva. By cementing Belo Chamisi, Sachomadale, and Komapala into your brain, you literally have the ability to instantly recall the entire chronological journey of prehistoric human settlement in Uttar Pradesh. You've got this. So, look how far we've come. We've traveled from the heavy, blunt stones of early hunter-gatherers, through the incredible technological leap of tiny microliths, all the way to the monumental discoveries of rice farming and permanent mud huts. The archaeological treasures of the Bilan and Son valleys prove beyond a doubt that Uttar Pradesh wasn't just tagging along in early human history. It was actively driving it. I want to leave you with this one provocative thought. As we look back and stand on these ancient prehistoric foundations of agriculture, what future revolutions are we unknowingly building today? Really think about that. Thank you so much for exploring with me today. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.